Hi, my name is Tatiana Dupree, and I will be discussing how breastfeeding and formula feeding benefits babies while highlighting more benefits of breastfeeding. Becoming a parent can be exciting, and for some, it can be nerve wracking all at once. And as a parent, while dealing with these emotions, you also want to ensure that your child's needs are being met as well, whether that being their shelter, clothing, their stable environment, and most importantly, their nutrition. While focusing on a child's nutrition, it is shining a light on their growth and development, which is a key component for an infant from the time that they come into this world and until they're in their adolescence, their teenage years, their 20s, their 30s, and so on and so forth. When the topic of nutrition is being talked about, it is very important that a baby gets the key nutrients that he or she needs, not only for survival purposes, but also for developmental and growth purposes as well. Breastfeeding has contributed to the overall health of an infant. However, the way of feeding can also improve issues seen within premature babies as well. Breastfeeding has been shown that with premature infants, it has benefited them by protecting them against infections, and improving the developmental outcomes compared to formula-fed premature infants. And now that gets into, well, the makeup. How does breast milk differ from formula milk? And in a sense, breast milk, one thing that they mostly are completely different is how they're manufactured or prepared. Breast milk is prepared by the mother's body, what the mother feeds herself, versus formula milk that's involving a middleman. You have more people producing it for you, and it's being done in a factory. But what comes with that are people above them making sure that they're instilling the necessary ingredients that a kid or infant needs. The U.S. Food and Drug Administration, the FDA, regulates formula companies to ensure they provide all the necessary nutrients, including vitamin D, in their formulas. Still, commercial formulas can't exactly match breast milk's exact composition. Why? That's just due to the fact that breast milk is a living substance made by each mother for her individual infant, and this process cannot be duplicated in a factory. Now, when it comes to breastfeeding, the most important part of breastfeeding is when the first batch of milk comes. This first batch of milk comes and it is called the colostrum. Colostrum is the first thick milk that is made during pregnancy or after birth. This milk is rich in nutrients, including antibodies to protect from infection. Colostrum also helps newborns' digestive systems grow and function, as well as their immune systems. And then another benefit in general of breastfeeding is that your milk can change in order to meet your baby's needs. Researchers think that baby saliva transfers chemicals to the mother's body through breastfeeding. These chemicals help mothers' bodies create breast milk that meets the baby's changing needs. So that's also a good thing. As your baby grows and develops, your body, keeps up with that. So, for instance, I have heard from some people who work within the medical industry, along with mothers as well that I know. They say some mothers have had a lack of supply. And, some have, just chosen to go the formula route instead of trying the breastfeeding route. And that's completely okay. And then some, they actually want to get that experience and develop that relationship that comes with breastfeeding their baby. And so a lot of them are like, try to breastfeed as in the first few days and then the months, because by the baby being on the woman's breast, it can stimulate your body to try to produce more milk. It can be a slow process, but there are things out there like natural herbs and teas that are out there that can help, and supplements, but also just your daily diet can help increase your supply as well. And then with the consumption of breast milk, some studies have suggested that there has been decreased rates in sudden infant death syndrome in the first year of life, a reduction in incidence of insulin-dependent type 1 and non-insulin dependent type 2 diabetes, lymphoma, leukemia, Hodgkin disease, overweight and obesity, hypercholesterolemia, and asthma in older children and adults who were breastfed compared to individuals who were not breastfed. And so along with breastfeeding can also contribute to other factors that can, help eliminate or, erase or lessen the risk of altogether. But we're not going to exclude formula feeding because formula feeding has also been beneficial for babies as well. I was a formula fed baby and we like to think I turned out pretty good too. So which comes with formula feeding, some babies aren't able to tolerate milk of any kind. And so for some babies they might need formula milk that is hyperallergenic or dairy-free or lactose-free in order to get the nutrients that they need. So sometimes, breast milk may not be, helpful for your baby, or your baby just, their digestive system can't handle the breast milk, but they might be able to handle the formula milk that's also customized to their needs. Like we said, hyperallergenic, dairy-free, or lactose-free. And then, that might be good until they, become a month or 2 months old. And then you might try breastfeeding again and they might end up fine, or they might just stick to formula feeding. But overall, this discussion wasn't to, say breastfeeding is the end all be all and formula feeding you should not do. This was just to sit down and open the discussion of, breastfeeding is a great alternative, but if breastfeeding isn't for you, or breastfeeding just does not float your boat, there are other alternatives such as formula feeding, and it works all the same. I believe that the main purpose in either one of them is to provide the key nutrients that your child needs. So as long as your child is in their percentile and developing how they should, that is the most important part.